I would like to talk to you about the latest product that AgInfoTech is going to be offering. It is the UAS system from AgEagle. Ken Diller, Derek Getchy, and myself all made the trek to Neodesha, Kansas to learn about this exciting new technology and new product that we are going to be implementing into AgInfoTech. This is a picture of one of the original test planes from AgEagle. This plane has over 1,000 flights on it, and yet it's still in remarkable shape. I even understand that one of the flights ended up with the plane hitting a tree. Part of the reason it's in such good shape is the fact of its quality construction that it was explained to us at the AgEagle manufacturing plant in Neodesha, Kansas. The construction starts with this styrofoam core. The styrofoam core has cutouts to place carbon fiber rods for reinforcement, which helps give the plane a considerable amount of strength. The plane is then covered in a carbon fiber wrap or laminate. After that process, it is then taken and carefully sanded to ensure that the plane is as aerodynamic and balanced as possible. They then add a third carbon rod in the front of the plane and a second Kevlar wrap, and then they once again sand the plane down, shape it, and make sure it's as aerodynamic as possible. Then it is ready for the final step, the installation of the electronic equipment. They then add the GPS unit, the radio, the batteries, the flight control board, the control system for the flaps, and all the rest of the electronics that's needed into the aircraft. When the plane is finished, the next logical thing to do is to take it out and test it and do a test flight. So the first thing that you're going to do when you get there is to get out your laptop computer and determine how you want the plane to fly the field. You can either import an existing field boundary if you have one, or you can go to Google Earth and actually just outline or put an area around the field that you would like to have flown. Then we want to determine the wind direction, and we want to try to fly the plane across the wind direction. So once you have the direction of the wind, you set your flight plan, go ahead and save that, and then the computer will use this to control the plane once it's in the air. So the next step is setting up our launch pad. The first thing when setting up the launch pad is to make sure that we know where the predominant wind is coming from. We want to launch the plane for best results directly into the wind. Once you've determined what the proper wind direction is and the proper placement of the launch pad, you need to determine an area that you can launch the plane into the wind that is free of obstructions so the plane does not hit anything once it is ready to take off. Our next step is to determine where we want to land the plane. Once again, we need to land into the wind just like taking off. We also need at least 500 feet to land the plane. So we determine where we want the plane to land at, carry the plane out there, and set it down. The next step is to actually tell the plane this is where we want it to land. To accomplish this, we hold the right joystick down in the bottom left-hand corner of the controller. We then flip the switch for manual control 5 times. The plane will respond that it accepted the position by flapping its wings up and down together 4 different times. The next step is to carry the plane over to the launching pad. We accomplish this by starting in the back and putting the 2 pins into the bottom of the aircraft. Then we place the front pins, align them and place them into place, and you'll note that the plane is not secured by anything other than these pins being in the holes. We are now ready for the pre-launch flight check. Once we ask the plane, "Are you ready for launch?" it should respond by flapping its wings 3 times together. Okay, so the plane has told us that it is ready to fly. The next step is to head to the laptop controller. There, we want to verify that we have communication to the plane. We also want to verify the position of the plane. We want to make sure that it is pointing on the screen in the direction that the plane is actually pointing in real life. The next thing that we want to do is actually load in the flight plan that we had created. So we go ahead and right click, load in the flight plan, and verify that the plan is the actual direction and that it is crosswind of the way the wind is actually blowing. Once that is up, we are ready to go to the plane and prepare for takeoff. Now it's time to walk back to the plane, turn the engine on, give it full power, and watch it go. When the plane actually takes off, it is flying in semi-auto mode. So the computer is still keeping it level, but it's trying to keep it in a straight line as it launches. The plane will fly away and continue to fly in a straight line until you actually take the controller and put it into full auto mode. Once the controller is placed into full auto mode, the plane will come back and head back to the landing site and start to circle around overhead. The plane will continue to circle until you go to the computer and tell it to start the route. You go to the computer and tell it to go to the first waypoint. The plane will turn, head to the first waypoint, and start to fly the path that you have selected on the computer. Once the plane reaches the end of the pass, it'll start its turn. It'll actually skip one pass and go down to the other end of the field, go ahead and skip another pass, come back, and then fill those areas in that it skipped. The whole time that the plane is flying, the camera is actually taking a picture every 2 seconds. That picture has the geographical information attached to it so that we can actually take the picture and stitch those images together. Flying 100 acres of cropland will result in 1 gigabyte of data. Once the plane has completed its mission, it will start to circle back around over top of the landing site. At that point, the computer is no longer telling the plane what to do, it's just there circling, waiting for you to tell it it's okay to land. You go ahead and take over on the controls, you signal it that it is okay to land, and the plane comes in and lands right where it was instructed to. As you can tell, it was quite windy during that flight, but yet the plane did remarkably well. Time to go ahead and recharge the batteries and send her up for an additional flight.
Good one! Way to go! Look at turbulence up there. Stop gritty now.